Hello everyone, in today's video we are going to explore the dynasties that came after the Mauryan Empire, which are crucial for your history syllabus. From the Shungas to the Guptas and from the Cholas to the Chera and Pandya king, we will cover them all. This is your one-stop guide to understanding the political and cultural transformation in India that occurred after the fall of Mauryas. When an empire declines, small kingdoms spring up in its place. This is exactly what happened at the end of the Mauryan Empire. A line of weak king follows. As the next 500 years would be a very confusing time in the Indian history, with many kingdoms big and small, rising and falling. The borders kept changing all across India. We call this time of murky obscurity and trackless wilderness, since sometimes we know nothing about a king except his name on a coin. Many of these kings belonged to foreign tribes like the Greek and the Shakas, also known as Scythians, Pahalwas, which were also known as Parthians, and the Kushans. Now, the Kushans were probably one of 5 branches of the Yuchi tribe. A lot of them were nomadic tribes from Central Asia that were pushed out by other tribes and entered India. At the same time, kingdoms began to appear in the south of Vindhyas, ruled by Indian dynasties like the Satavahanas in the Deccan and the Chola, Pandya, Chera in the southern region, called the Tamilakam. One would think that such a time of political upheavals would have made life difficult for the common people. But surprisingly, this was a time when people became prosperous since trade continued to flourish. There was much progress in literature, art, and architecture. This was a time when rich cultural age of the Guptas was late. The turn of the 1st century was an interesting time in India, and we find much information about this text in texts like Patanjali, Mahabhyasa, and Manusmriti. Buddhist texts like the Divya Vadanam, Jataka Tales, and Milind Panha. Another interesting source is a book written by an anonymous Greek sailor called the Periplus of the Erythraean Sea. Now, let's learn about the dynasties which come after the Mauryan Empire. First, let's talk about the Shunga dynasty. The Shunga dynasty emerged after the collapse of the Mauryan Empire. Pushyamitra Shunga, a general in the Mauryan army, assassinated the last Mauryan ruler, who was Bridharath Maurya, and established his own rule. The Shungas are known for reviving Hinduism, and after the period of Mauryan rule, which had been marked by the patronage of Buddhism by Ashoka. The Shungas were eventually weakened by internal strife and were replaced by the Kanva dynasty in 73 BCE. Now, the Kanva dynasty emerged after the Shungas were overthrown. It was founded by the Vasudev Kanva. It was a short-lived dynasty. Now, the Kanvas were originally Brahmin ministers who usurped the throne. Their rule was short-lived and they did not have a significant impact on Indian history. The Kanvas were eventually overthrown by Satavahanas, a powerful dynasty. Satavahanas, which was a powerful dynasty from a Deccan region. The Satavahanas dynasty emerged in the Deccan region, which is modern-day Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana. The first significant ruler was Simukha, though much of their growth was under Satkarni I and Gautamiputra Satkarni. I think we have read about the Gautamiputra Satkarni. And the capital of the Satavahana Empire was the Pratisthana, which is modern-day Pathan in Maharashtra. Though other cities like Nasik, Patan in Gujarat, and Junnar also had regional significance. The most famous ruler of the Satavahana dynasty, Gautamiputra Satkarni, is considered one of the India's greatest king. His reign marked the peak of the Satavahana Empire. He is celebrated for his military conquest, administrative efficiency, and patronage of Brahmanism. He defeated the Shakas, who had established multiple kingdoms in western India. Gautamiputra coin and the inscription celebrate his victories and administrative reforms. The Satavahanas were strong supporters of Buddhism, and they patronized the construction of several Buddhist stupas and monasteries in region under their control, including Sanchi. The original stupa at Sanchi was built by Emperor Ashoka of the Mauryan dynasty around the 3rd century BCE as part of his effort to promote Buddhism and commemorate the relics of the Buddha. After the decline of the Mauryan Empire and the rise of the Satavahana dynasty, the Satavahanas played a key role in expanding and embellishing the Sanchi Stupa. The rise of the Kushan Empire. Now, the next comes the Kushan Empire. and the Saka invasion weakened the Satavahanas. The Kushans under Kanishka gradually absorbed the territories once held by the Satavahanas in the northwestern region. By the 3rd century CE, the Satavahana Empire had fragmented into smaller kingdom, which was eventually absorbed by the Vakataka. They were a group of Central Asian nomads who established several kingdoms in the northwestern region of India, particularly in Gandhara and Mathura. The Shaka established several kingdoms in India, which are collectively referred to as the Indo-Scythians or the Shaka kingdom. The most prominent of these kingdoms were Gandhara, which is a modern-day Afghanistan and northwest Pakistan, and it was one of the first regions where the Shakas settled. Another is Kshatrap dynasty of the Western Kshatrap, which settled in Gujarat and the Deccan. One of the earliest and the most significant ruler of the Shakas was Mois, who founded the Shaka rule in the northwest of India around the 1st century BCE. Now the Western Kshatrap or the Shaka Western Kshatrap established their rule in Gujarat, Maharashtra and Saurashtra, becoming one of the longest lasting Shaka dynasty in India around 1st to 4th century CE. The Western Kshatrap played an essential role in Western India, especially in areas like Gujarat and Maharashtra, where they established their dominance over local rulers and remained a key regional power for several centuries. These Shaka rulers called themselves Satraps, and two famous ones are Nahapana and Rudraman. The Shakas declined by the mid-4th century CE due to the internal fragmentation and external invasion. After the Shaka, we have Gupta Empire. Now, it is also referred to as the Golden Age of India. The Guptas unified much of the northern India with their capital at Pataliputra, under rulers like Chandragupta I, Samudragupta and Chandragupta II, who was also called as Vikramaditya. The Guptas established a centralized state that promoted both cultural and economic growth. The period saw significant advancement in mathematics, with Aryabhatta introducing concept of zero and the decimal system. Kalidas, one of India's greatest poet, also thrived during this period. The Guptas were also known for their support of Hinduism, although Buddhism continued to be practiced. The empire eventually weakened due to the invasion from the Huns, marking the end of the Gupta Empire. Now there were also other dynasties which were running parallelly. One of them were Vakataka dynasty. Now it was around 250 CE to 500 CE. They ruled in central India, mainly in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh. Next we have Harsha's empire. Initially it was called as Vardhana dynasty. Harsha initially ruled over Thaneshwar. Harsha was one of the last great ruler of the northern India in the 7th century. Harsha initially ruled over Thanesar and later expanded his empire to include parts of North India. Harsha was a patron of Buddhism and literature, known for inviting scholars like Xunjiang to his court. His reign saw a period of peace and prosperity. After Harsha's death, his empire fragmented due to succession issue and the regional resistance. Now next comes the Chalukya dynasty. The Chalukyas were another powerful dynasty that rose in the Deccan. Pulkeshin II famously defeated Harsha at the Battle of Narmada. The Chalukyas were known for their temple architecture, particularly the rock-cut temples of Badami and Aihole. The Chalukyas weakened due to internal conflict and attacks from the Rashtrakuta. Next one is Rashtrakuta dynasty. The Rashtrakutas ruled over the Deccan from the 8th to 10th century and were major patron of Hinduism. Amogvarsha is remembered for his cultural contribution and patronage of literature. They built the famous Ellora's cave, known for their intricate rock-cut architecture. The Rashtrakutas faced invasion from the Cholas and eventually fragmented due to internal division. Next is Chola dynasty. Chola dynasty. Chola existed even at the time of Ashoka, who mentions the dynasty in one of his inscriptions. The Chola king Karikala ruled in the Tamil Nadu region with his capital at Uriyur. He was often at war with the neighboring Pandya and Chera kingdom and invaded Sri Lanka. He built the legendary port of Puhar at the mouth of Kaveri river on the east coast. The popular Tamil epics Silpadikram and Manimekkalai and Prakrit texts like the Milind Panha and the Buddhist Jataka tales and foreign accounts like Geographia by Ptolemy and the Periplus of the Erythraean Sea paint a vivid picture of the city. Important kings like the Karikala Raja Chola I, Rajendra Chola I and the Cholas expanded their empire to Southeast Asia, and they built grand temples such as the Brihadeshwar temple. The Cholas eventually declined due to the internal conflict and the Cholas' defeat by the Pandyas and Hoysala invasion. The Chola dynasty is critical to understanding South Indian maritime history and the development of temple architecture. Another dynasty is Pandya dynasty. Pandya dynasty. Pandya dynasty is indeed one of the longest ruling dynasty in history. It is not the longest in the world because of multiple periods of rise and decline. Their rule saw several interruptions due to invasion. For example, Kalavaras, Cholas, Delhi Sultanate, but the dynasty was revived multiple times. The Pandya dynasty effectively ruled until the 14th century CE, when it was absorbed into the Vijayanagar Empire, which was around 1378 CE. The Pandyas ruled in Madurai region in Tamil Nadu, and according to Megasthenes, the Pandya kingdom was founded by a woman who maintained a large army. Sangam age is known for its cultural flourishing in Tamil literature, arts and poetry, with the Pandyas being key patrons. The Pandya dynasty was part of the Tamil triad, along with the Chola and Chera, and they exercised political and military influence over a significant portion of southern India, including parts of Kerala and Sri Lanka. The dynasty's independence ended in 1378 CE, when the Vijayanagar Empire annexed Madurai. Now the next dynasty is Chahamanas or Chauhan dynasty. The Chahamanas, also known as the Chauhans, were a Rajput dynasty. They were a Rajput dynasty that ruled over parts of northwestern India, particularly in the region of Rajasthan. During the medieval period, their rule is particularly important in the context of Indian history for their interaction with the Delhi Sultanate, their role in the Rajput state, and their resistance to Muslim invasions. The most famous line of the Chahamanas ruled from Ajmer, a city in present-day Rajasthan. Ajmer became the capital of Chahamanas in the 11th century. The dynasty is most famously associated with the Prithviraj Chauhan, one of the most well-known Rajput kings in the Indian history. Prithviraj Chauhan is the most famous ruler of the Chahamanas, known for his military skills, cultural patronage, and literary contributions. Prithviraj rules is often remembered for his conflict with the Ghorid ruler Muhammad of Ghor, culminating in the famous Battle of Tarain. The first Battle of Tarain was fought in the 1191. This battle resulted in the victory for the Rajput forces. The second Battle of Tarain was fought in 1192. Prithviraj Chauhan was defeated and taken prisoner by Muhammad Ghori, marking a major turning point in Indian medieval history. This battle led to the establishment of Muslim rule in northern India and the eventual formation of Delhi Sultanate. Next dynasty is Chera dynasty. The Cheras ruled over modern Kerala from their capital at Vanchi, and they are also mentioned by Ashoka in one of his inscriptions. The Chera king Nedum Cheralathan was often at war with the Cholas and Pandyas and is said to have captured a Roman trading fleet off the Malabar coast. The Chera rulers encouraged trade with Arab traders. Next dynasty is the Gurjar Pratyahara dynasty. It is a prominent medieval Indian dynasty that ruled northern and central India, especially from the 8th to 11th century CE. The dynasty was founded by the Nagabhatta I and reached its zenith under Mihira Bhoja. The Gurjar Pratyahara Empire covered Malwa, Rajasthan, Delhi, Madhya Pradesh, and parts of Uttar Pradesh. It played a central role in tripartite struggle for Kannauj with the Rashtrakutas and the Palas. The tripartite struggle for control over Kannauj involved these three dynasties. The Gurjaras managed to control over Kannauj for a significant period. After Mihir Bhoja's death, the dynasty weakened due to the internal conflict, external evasion, and pressure from the Rashtrakud and Delhi Sultanate. By the 11th century, the dynasty fragmented and lost power. These were the dynasty whose rulers either unified large parts of India or brought about significant social, religious, or cultural changes. However, beyond these major dynasties, there are many smaller or lesser known dynasties that do not receive as much emphasis in the UPSC and UPPCS exam. While they may have had local significance or contributed to the regional culture, their historical impact was often not as widespread or lasting on a national scale. While a smaller dynasty may not be a primary focus, it's important to know them for context. Regional powers like the Chalukyas, Pallavas, Pandava dynasty were essential in shaping India's regional politics, culture, and the religion. Focus on their key contribution and major rulers, but don't get bogged down in intricate detail. Thank you.